Whoa! Holy shizzles. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to a brand new video. It's Cutaway from the Apori Institute, and I'm not coming at you with one, not two, but three Thomas Sowell videos in a row. Today we're going to be reacting to Thomas Sowell 3 questions that are necessary to ask leftists to destroy them. With that being said, if you don't know who I am or what the Apori Institute is, you can follow me on Instagram or here, or you can check out the links in the description. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the video.
So why do you think liberals have jumped on Walmart? Because of its success?
Because of its success, that's a sufficient reason. They really are for helping. They're for helping people who are disadvantaged, as they put it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think conservatives want to stop people from being disadvantaged. You know, the liberals want to help the poor while they're poor, but really the biggest benefit is to stop them from being poor.
I mean, I think like the leftist philosophy is kind of like, well, if you're getting rich, right, that somehow requires a sacrifice of society. You're exploiting your workers somehow. I mean, this is how they critique, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk today. You know, you're exploiting your workers and you're using all the resources that society provides you. So therefore, you have a moral duty to sit there and sacrifice a little bit of your wealth. And somehow, because you've made it so great, we have a right to sit there and take away some of your wealth to go ahead and distribute it against the poor and those who are unlucky and disadvantaged and blah, 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 blah. Now, although I'm not a conservative and I disagree with conservative philosophy, I think their general idea is correct. Now, their application of it and their philosophic justification, I think it's wrong. But like the general idea of conservatism is like, let's free up the markets a bit. You know, let's remove some regulation and allow businesses to grow. I don't think they apply that principle consistently, but I think the general idea is in the right direction.
And that they have very little interest in.
What is the liberal premise?
I guess the Rousseau notion, that man is born free but is everywhere in chains, that the real problem of the world is that the institutions are wrong. If the institutions were right, then there was nothing in human nature that would cause us to be unhappy. It's the fact that we have the wrong institutions.
I mean, that's kind of interesting because, I mean, I would say that a lot of the debates that I've gotten to like leftists with, they would think that, well, like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and those type of people are selfish. They got their money and wealth through selfish means. And that's inherently bad. And we must force them to become altruist, which means that we must force them to sacrifice ourselves. We have to tax them at a super high rate. It's selfish of you to keep all that money, and we're not going to allow you to have it. I mean, who cares if you earned it? I mean, like, you have plenty enough to sit there and survive by yourself. Don't worry. But we're going to take some of that money and distribute it to those who are unable to sit there and live by themselves and through their own financial means.
What is the conservative premise?
That man is flawed from day one, and that there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. And whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem. But that you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for.
I can generally agree with this because the conservative understanding of the market is like they don't believe in like perfect markets or pure capitalism or whatever, and it's like you got to compromise and stuff like that. And they do have this view of like man is inherently flawed because conservatives are typically religious, so they hold this view of like, I mean, you're flawed, you're a human being, you're not God, bro. Like, you're not God. Like, you can't be perfect. The market can't be pure and perfect. So like what we got to do is compromise on that and set some moral like legislation. Like I know a lot of conservatives and alt-right type of people that are willing to sit there and be American firsters. They're talking about like banning pornography and stuff like that, and OnlyFans and stuff like that, to make sure that like the country is morally pure and societally glued together by like this traditionalism, faith, family type of morality and philosophy and whatever that stuff is and whatever. So I think their conservatives are really good on, I would say, physical and financial freedom. But like when it comes to like intellectual freedom, like, hey, I want to go watch porn, like they're not, no. Like, no. Like, hey, I want to do OnlyFans. Like, no. Like, no. Like, no. Like, hey, I want to trade with, countries outside of the U.S. No. Tariffs. America first, America businesses only, and stuff like that. Like, I think that's a view why the liberals are like typically atheist, and they sexual liberation, who are you to judge, things like that. But when it comes to, money and, stuff like that, it's like, no, you can't keep that for yourself, my bro. Like, nah. And, so.
I've often said there are three questions that I think would destroy most of the arguments on the left. And the first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? Now, there are very few ideas on the left that can pass all three of those kinds of things.
Can conservative ideas pass those?
Yes, I think so, because they don't assume that there is a solution out there. Adam Smith didn't believe that either the government or the market could solve all problems.
I mean, I think neither side could answer those questions properly. I disagree with Sowell here, but I definitely see that the left, this is totally unable to answer those questions, really. I mean, in contrast or in comparison to what? Which means, like, by what standard are you making this claim? They don't really have much standards. I think their whole entire idea is that, altruism, sacrifice, you're inherently bad, we need some of your money, things like that. Let's put social programs because it's morally good. And I think they replace politics with morality, and then since in their eyes it's moral to sacrifice yourself, so let's apply that to politics and force people to be moral. I think that's kind of their view. And then, like, what hard evidence you got? I mean, sure, they could probably pull up some statistics about whatever, but that doesn't justify the political necessity of it at all. Like, I don't think debating about whether or not this policy is more effective than that policy is a proper means to debate politics. I think you need to debate, like, politics on a moral ground, right? But the issue is allowing people to be moral, to make those moral decisions. And that's why we need to have a proper government that respects everyone's right to make moral decisions. You can't force people to be moral, because morality implies a choice. You need to make that choice. And leftists are not allowing people to make those choices. You're saying, well, you're moral now, and blah, 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 and they scare you from being taxed. So you automatically, do things. Hey, I'm going to, pay some money to charity and stuff like that, so I don't get rampaged later on for it. Some stuff like that. So I think Thomas Sowell's questions are right here pretty valid. They're valid questions to ask in any debate, like, whatsoever. Like, they're valid questions. I just don't think that it's applicable to the left and not the right. I think the right suffer from the same moral poison that the left also suffer from, is that the right just applies it in a different context. And if you want to see what I mean by that, then I suggest for you to watch my previous video. It's a PragerU video about Amala. She works for PragerU, and she did this video on systemic racism, and I described a little bit of what I'm talking about now. I mean, to kind of further my analysis of, like, right conservatives and stuff like that, I mean nowadays they're getting worse and worse. Like, if you look at online conservatives and all, I don't even want to say conservatives anymore, because they're even denouncing that term now. But people that's on the right, like John Doyle or Nick Fuentes, or people who is actually established in the field, like Tucker Carlson, like, these people are progressively getting worse, and, like, applying a lot of their collectivist, tribalistic principles more consistently, which has made them more authoritarian than they have already been, more anti-freedom, more anti-capitalism as the years go on, as more years are here without Trump. Not to suggest that I'm a Trump supporter, but, like, that's where their guy that kept them calm. Now they got Biden, so now they're crashing down more, like, pretty hard on their principles, because Biden is in office, because Biden is instituting terrible policies, and those type of people are going hard. And I think I don't think Thomas Sowell is a conservative. I don't think at all. I think there's no label you can put on Thomas Sowell. I don't think Thomas Sowell is a libertarian, nor is he conservative, nor he is whatever in between. I just hold that Thomas Sowell is objective. He's just objective. Like, you can't classify this guy with the libertarians and, like, the Rothbardians and, like, Mises and stuff like that. Like, no, like, he carved himself a new, like, field, an undefined field, where he's not a conservative. You can't classify him as the mainstream conservatives, and you can't classify him as a libertarian. He's just objective. I think he's just one of those guys who really doesn't care. And he's just an independent guy that makes his studies and puts out his studies and like, hey guys, this is what I find and this is what I think it's the most accurate. And the people who I think that are closely related to the principles that I'm espousing, maybe the libertarians, maybe the conservatives, but am I one of those or do I support those? No, not really, but I definitely look at the libertarians and conservatives better than the left. Like the left is blatantly wrong. Like, yeah, like I think that's Thomas Sowell's viewpoint right there. But does he fall into the category? Absolutely not. But yeah, but like those, like the 3 questions to destroy the left are absolutely necessary. You just got to know when to properly use them, and what to look out for, like what type of answers are going to be used from the leftists, and you would have to be able to properly retort. But I mean, other than that, like this video is a really good video, and there's definitely more to come. So, if you definitely like this video and you definitely like this channel, you like my personality, whatever aspect of this video that you do like that makes you want to come back in the near future, please do come back in the near future because I'm going to be posting more Thomas Sowell videos. So, with that being said, peace.